Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Mystic Love Poems. And I thought it would be interesting perhaps to begin by talking about what mystic poetry actually is. You may have heard of some of the famous mystic poets, Hafiz, Rumi, St. Francis of Assisi. There are many. And I was reading a book by Daniel Ladinsky, who's the primary translator of Hafiz's poems. And he had some interesting stories to share about Hafiz. But after reading many, many mystic love poems, he came up with what he felt mystic poems actually do. And he reduced it to 3 words. And those words are engage and give. So mystic love poems for him engage the reader, the audience, and they give something. They give a gift, perhaps. And in my experience of reading and writing mystic love poems, I thought about that and I thought, yes, that's quite accurate. And I would perhaps add that they also have the power to enchant and to elevate, to take something and take some aspect of awareness of life, of consciousness, and make it something magical, something different, make it into a poem and offer something, elevate the reader, the audience into a different state, sort of carrying the reader with them towards an elevated state by the beauty and the power of the words that have been really received out of the silence, which is where all wisdom comes from. So there were 2 stories I'd like to share, short ones, that Ladinsky shared about Hafiz. And the first one was, a young woman came to Hafiz and she said, "What is the sign of someone knowing God? What is the sign of someone knowing God?" And Hafiz became very quiet. He went into a state of silence for quite some time. And then he looked lovingly and deeply into this young woman's eyes. And he said softly, "My dear, they have dropped the knife. Those who have known God or who know God have dropped the knife. The person who knows God has dropped the cruel knife most so often use upon their tender self, in self-judgment, self-criticism, and also using the knife on others, judgment of others." And I thought that was so beautiful. It's like the knife that we wield, or the ego wields, the mind wields, to really protect itself, but really ultimately damages or injures itself. And then the other story, also very beautiful to me, was that a very serious, maybe too serious, according to Ladinsky, student came to Hafiz one day and he said, "I'd love to translate your poems. I'd love to have permission to translate them." And he asked Hafiz, he said, "What is the essential quality in your poems that I need to incorporate in my translations to make them abiding and authentic?" And Hafiz looked at him and he said, "Do you really want to know?" And the student said, "Yes, of course." And he said, "Well then," and he got very quiet and he said, "My poems lift the corners of the mouth. My poems lift the corners of the mouth, the soul's mouth, the heart's mouth, and can affect any opening that can make love. My poems can affect any opening that can make love," which is very beautiful and very sensuous. This idea that we can be opened. If there is an opening inside us to really receive, we can be transformed, we can be elevated, we can be changed, I believe sincerely, by mystic poetry. And so it's my deep wish that you can sit back and really open your heart to the poems that I hope to share with you, perhaps one a week on this channel, Mystic Love Poems. And I also just want to say that there's a quote I came across by George Harrison where he said, "The world is ready for a mystic revolution, a discovery of the God in each of us." The world is ready for a mystic revolution, the discovery of God in each of us. And I ask you, are you ready to find the God inside yourself? I do offer mystic love poetry writing sessions, which are really just putting a lens of love onto your own life and exploring really the intricacies and the intimacies of your own heart. So if you'd like to learn more or explore your own mystic poeticism, please feel free to look at the link below and contact me. I offer retreats and one-day workshops around the country, usually by invitation. So if you'd like to bring me to your area, I'd be delighted to come. So just contact me as you feel inspired to do, and please enjoy the poems that I'll share with you. And thank you so much for being with me today.